Hi, this is National Master Coach Ba. Today I'm going to talk about how to improve at chess. We have 5 keys to improving at chess. There are solving puzzles, learning endgames, learning middle game strategies, reviewing masters games, playing serious classical games, and analyzing your own games. And today we are going to cover analyzing your own games. I'm going to show you an example from two of my students who are playing each other, and on Lichess their rating is approximately like 1500, 1600. So in this position, it was White's turn, and one of my students captured on c6, which was mistake. First of all, let me show you what should White play in this position. In this position, White should try to castle as soon as possible. Right now, there's a discard attack threats like knight takes e5. That's why first knight should take on d7, and let's say knight takes d7 and play queen to b3. So defending against the discard attack, and now White is preparing to castle to the king side. So instead of this, White did knight takes c6, which was mistake. This is strategically mistakes because right now Black is going to get initiative by exchanging bishops, controlling the open file, and White would be in a really difficult situation. So knight bishop takes and bishop takes. So in this position, Black's supposed to take that was rook. But here, my other student makes also a mistake and captures that was pawn. So the reason why Black take was rook, it's obvious. First of all, we're trying to control this open file. That's why Black played rook c8 before, and right now is attacking the queen. Let's say queen moves somewhere like b3, then Black should continue with queen a5, immediately putting pressure on the knight, pinning the knight, and trying to bring the rook to c8 so that this rook can go to c2. So right now, it's really serious advantage for Black because Black also threatening to play knight e4, attack the knight, pin knight on d2. So right now, the position is really difficult. If White plays this move, queen b3, Black can just play queen b6. There was an idea to attack the pawn, and also clearing the path for the other rook to go to c8. So the whole idea of this move is to control the open file and go rook to c2, like to the second rank. So here Black has a serious advantage. Instead of this, in this position, Black captures with pawn. So that was a mistake, obviously, because now Black is blocking the c file and also creating a weak pawn on c6. So in this position, White castled, Black played queen a5, knight to b3. So bringing the knight to b3, attacking the queen, and also threatening to go to c5, which looks very logically. Queen goes to b5, a4. It's not necessary. It was not necessary to attack the queen. It was already possible to go knight c5 or rook c1, but a4 it's okay. Queen goes to b7, knight goes to c5, attacking the queen. So here queen went to b6, and in this position, when they reach this position, right now we see White has advantage because there's a knight on c5, very nice knight on c5. It's a good outpost for the knight, and also there's a weak pawn on c6. Well, usually it's almost always the square in front of the weak pawn, isolated backward pawn or double pawn. It's a good outpost for the knights, right? So same as here, the c6 pawn is a weak, and we have very nice outpost for a knight on c5. So now White should play in this position. White's plan is to attack on the queen side, to attack the c pawn because it's weak. So most logical moves here, rook to c1, rook f c1, so that other rook can go to a3 and then to c3, and eventually put pressure on c6 pawn. After White knight goes to d3 and then e5, I think Black is going to lose his pawn very soon. Instead of this, my student was looking for some tactical ideas and was trying to do fork. It was knight d7, attack the rook and queen. But he noticed that that's not safe because of this knight, and he decided, okay, I should now somehow deflect the knight or chase this knight away and play g4. This is it's bad because first of all, White is weakening his king side, give up the pawn, right? So the whole idea was to sacrifice pawn, so that if knight takes, to play knight d7. First of all, it doesn't work because black can just capture that, and after knight goes to d7, attack queen and the rook. There's a very nice move, queen c7, attacking on h2, checkmate, and attacking the knight. So white is going to lose another pawn, or after 95, he's just going to have a losing position for white. And so the mistake in this position was that they like looking for something that they're just looking for a tactical ways to win the game when they have already reached positionally almost winning game here because it's clear for white. Should white place rook c1, rook a3, rook c3 to attack against the weak pawn. So um, let's say white didn't find a good plan to to win the game, or let's say to get a serious advantage, and he was looking for the ways for the easiest way to win material. After g4, he was trying to sacrifice pawn and then do knight d7, which was a good idea. So he didn't recognize the situation, didn't recognize that there was a weak pawn, and didn't play rook c1, rook a3, rook c3 was winning idea. So this student, like 1500 student, needs to work on in some middle game strategies like weak pawns, open files, outposts, stuff like that, instead of looking for basic tactics like knight d7 or deflection or something like that, because this position is not where you need to do. You need to look for tactical ways to win the game. So usually after the lesson, I give my students assignment related to the topic that we learned during the lesson. For example, we reviewed the game today, so I give them assignment on, uh, for example, finding the best continuation from their own games. So this is all of these puzzles from my students' games. So, and also I picked the critical moments where they did mistake instead of doing good move, or instead of finding a best move and getting a serious advantage, material advantage, or a strategical advantage. They did like bad moves or blunders somewhere. So in this position, it is black's turn. What's the best continuation for black here, and what should black play here? What's the plan for black? So we see I recognize this position that black plays Sicilian defense. My student was playing black against someone online on Lichess, and didn't find a plan. Probably he didn't know what to play here, and he was like he did blunder in this position. But the best continuation for black is to play bishop to g4. Why should black play bishop g4? Is to remove the knight from f3 so that eventually white knight gets d4 square. Also, black should focus on attacking on on the queen side because king castle here. So h4, let's say white is attacking on king side. So here it says black block the pawn. So next to the chessboard, there's a kind of octopus. It says it gives like hints. What should you play? For example, it says block the pawn. You should block the pawn right now, and that's why black should go here, something like h5, or maybe knight h5, something like this. Knight e2, and here it says attack on the queen side. Let's attack on the queen side. So I guess we should play b5, trying to make them play make them take, because if captures we have a skewer by playing rook to b8, attacking the bishop. If bishop moves, we capture with bishop on b2, something like captures and then capture b2. So let's see next chapter. I click next chapter. I have another position. Again, this position came from my student's game, and here he did a mistake by moving the queen to d8. So he played kind of variation of Scandinavian, and he's supposed to play more active, not queen d8, and he should play with queen to h5. So putting pressure on f3, and the goal is to attack pawn on d4. So this pawn is vulnerable, knight f6, h3. Okay, this pawn is pinned. He can't take because we have this pin. That's why here we play, I guess. Oh yeah, the h2 pawn is pinned. So white is not going to take the bishop on g4 yet. Pin the pawn d4. So here next to the chessboard again, I see the clues what I'm supposed to do. So my students should read this and try to understand the ideas, not just find the best move without knowing it, not just guessing it. They should understand what they're doing. So here, castle is the best move, I guess. And what should play black? Should we go e5? No, actually, is black is trying to take. Knight takes d4 looks interesting. Captured. I capture on g4. The plan is to checkmate on h2. Knight h4. Was that the only move? All right, let's capture and then capture here. Then I guess now black has advantage. There's two extra pawns. So okay, next position. Here it says white to move. Let's try to steal the open d file. We see here bishop is better than knight in this position because knight is kind of restricted by the pawns. So also there is a double pawns right here. The only diagonal for the bishop looks like the a3 f8, and so that we should try to keep the bishop here, I guess. And in order to steal this open file, we need to try to force the black rook to take our rook. So we play bishop to e7. Okay, he doesn't take, attacks our bishop. We need to, I guess, move the bishop back. Let's go to c5. Rook d8. So we won a tempo. So we reached the same position for the black, but we was a bishop on c5. So here I guess we can just try to go a4 to try to chase this knight away. a5. Okay, good move, stopping our move. And here something like king f1. Nope, it's not a good move. h4 or actually g4, so that we can gain more spaces. So f4 and h4 later on, and bring the king to the center when black cannot improve his position. So next position. So in this position, white should plan attack on the queen side. So black e7 pawn right here is vulnerable. And also the d6 square is weak. So let's try to create an outpost for a knight on d6. So we need to try to make an outpost, put a knight on that square. So I guess we should play c5. So again, this position came from my students' game, and this is the critical moments where they didn't find a good move and they did a mistake. So when I give my students an assignment, I don't tell them that this position came from their games. They should go over the positions. Maybe they remember the game, but that's not the point. The point is that they should find the correct moves, the ideas. So this is how students improve. They go over the games, and then so they need to play again this position over and over, so that next time not to repeat the mistakes again. And also, I try every time after the lesson give them puzzles on a related topic. For example, if we learn today, let's say rook endgame, then I have already prepared rook endgame studies, puzzles, and they work that way. So, okay, let's skip this position. In this position, white's advantage in development is obvious. So this is the last position that I want to show you. This is one of the recently games of my student, and he reached a very good position with white because his opponent did some inaccuracies in the opening. And right now we see white's advantage in development is obvious. And but how can white continue? So advantage in development doesn't mean you are going to win some material or checkmate. It's a temporary thing. So if you don't use your advantage in development, like quickly attack the king or quickly develop your pieces, rest of the pieces, and win material, then your opponent will manage to castle, develop the pieces, and everything's going to be okay again. So in this position, it was white's turn, and we see there are dark weaknesses, dark squares weak, and also the king didn't castle. Actually, castling the king is not safe because of the knight e7 fork. So here my student did a mistake by doing something like c3 or something like that. So but it was better to play f4 to try to squeeze the queen or and also control the center. And also we're trying to improve our rook's position. We're trying to do rook lift. So also we don't need to worry about the castle because castle is not possible. We have a fork. So d6, we play f5, trying to chase this queen away, and queen should stay close to the pawn in order to defend on g7. Now we just play rook to f3, trying to go rook h3 to trap. And here, I guess we can also attack pawn g7 by trying to play rook to g3. Yeah, rook to g3, attack on g7, and now black has serious uh, problems here because the g7 is already in danger. They have to defend it by moving, for example, the rook. And so if they move the rook, they can't castle anymore to the king side. Castling to queen side is also not that great because here also we have weaknesses. The c file is open. And also after rook g8, castling to queen side, always there's a threat of the fork, check, and attack the rook. So the position now, I think it's just a winning for white now. So, okay, so thank you for watching this video. Bye.